Endless laps around fallow fields, raking hay into neat rows. What is there to think about? The mystery of human love that co-created him and his 5 younger brothers and 6 younger sisters. Why you in the low setting sun sometimes cast a shadow with an aura. The marvel of catching a stringer full of pike from a tiny creek on a summer day. Why his people chose to live in America's Siberia. By the time he was 12, he knew much of human nature. Of cruelty, he knew a lot, being short and there being no shortage of bullies. In his country school, he read about man's inhumanity to man, and his father told stories about being in the Great War and liberating Dachau. Plain dishonesty, too. There were stories of old man Loffelmacher pouring water into his bales of wool before going to market. Corporate greed existed back then. A neighbor wrote to Minneapolis Moline about a homemade fix to an intractable tractor problem. They sent him a train ticket to the big city to hear all about it. After taking careful notes, they thanked him very much and showed him the door, with no return ticket. As regards irrational prejudice, one Saturday the entire family drove to Dickinson to a wedding. On the way, his mother explained this was the 3rd time the couple tried to get married. The first 2 times, the groom's mother became deathly ill right before the wedding, and it had to be postponed. But the 3rd time, as she lay on her deathbed on the eve of the wedding, her son told her, "Ma, I don't care if you die. I'm going to marry that girl." You see, the problem was that girl was German-Hungarian, and he was German-Russian. He liked to argue with minds unfazed by reason or evidence, especially with his Jehovah's Witness neighbor. He knew firsthand of the humanity of priests, and he knew of the foibles of bishops from stories told around the kitchen table when his uncle, Father Charles, came to visit. Hearts of stone baffled him. When his grandmother was a girl, she broke her leg. When told it would cost the price of a cow to fix it, her father refused. She eventually had to have part of her leg amputated. Imagine growing up and feeling you were worth less than a cow. After high school, he thought he might be a priest, but that didn't work out. But at seminary, he learned about St. Thomas's 5 ways. He could explain why he disagreed with Luther's imputed righteousness. Though being a farm boy, he could relate to the dung pile covered in snow. Then he signed up for the army and went to war as a partsman for Vietnam choppers. He was proud of his work and saw no atrocities. When he came back, there were no jobs, so he went to the university at Fargo, an older than average student. There he took a class in ecology and encountered Ehrlichian Malthusianism. Think of a writhing mass of mice in a glass cage. Long conversations with Father Sherman, the sociologist, ethnographer, priest, were the antidote to such madness. But after leaving Fargo, there still were precious few jobs, so he went back to parts, this time selling parts and tools on the road. In this job, he learned the iron law of selling on the dirt roads of the Dakotas. Quit for the day after 14 calls, even if you've made them before noon. Go buy a paperback, go to your motel room and call it a day, for the law of diminishing returns is at play. He told of the time when he was deep into South Dakota and had just sold some tools to a Swedish farmer, big, blond-haired, blue-eyed fellow. The man told him to go to the house to get the check from his wife. When she opened the door, he was stunned to see a beautiful, tall black woman, granddaughter of a homesteader. See also the tale of Arabelle Thompson. In 1982, he and his young family moved to Mottburgh, just in time for the drought and recession. Not a good time to own a shoe store. But there he made his last stand, and there we met. I had just finished my formal education and was burdened greatly thereby, but he was patient with me as we argued about everything. I can still see him wearing his blue apron with a copy of National Review stuck in the pocket, yelling at the talking heads or spouting Hayek, Friedman, Soule, or Rand while he replaced the sole of a cowboy boot. Global warming became a topic of conversation in 1996. I had visited Washington, D.C. and mentioned the global warming exhibit I saw in the Smithsonian. "Nonsense," he snorted. We started the first rush room in Mottburgh. It was the recreation room at the nursing home where we had lunch every Wednesday with our friend Charlie, who had MS. I would feed myself and Charlie. He expounded on current events. Egregious and unconscionable were his favorite rush words. We caught thousands of bluegills, perch, and bass from local ponds, filleted them, even the little ones, and then, covered in beer batter, deep-fried them. "Delicious," he would exclaim as we gorged ourselves. The consumption of beer was also a part of this ritual. Every once in a while, there was excitement in our little town. Jack Nicklaus and his entourage came to hunt pheasants. That was fun. We heard that Tom Robbins had lunch at the Pheasant Cafe with Gus Van Sant. They were checking out Mottburgh as a site for the movie Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. This confirmed for us that Robbins researched for his book by consulting a replogal globe, which prominently features Mottburgh. After all, it looks to be a hop, skip, and a jump to Fargo, where his cowgirls would market their goats. It was no fun watching our little town die. Every day the Buffalo Commons loomed larger on the horizon. Every once in a while some expert would come with wisdom to impart, but nothing came of it, and we continued the long, slow slide to oblivion. One day, the professor from the East paid us a visit on a Monday morning. As I drove down Main Street to the office, I noticed two men standing in front of one of our empty buildings. There was a movie camera on a tripod. Ho-hum, no curiosity about nothing. But when I got to the office, I realized I forgot my briefcase. Damn. Driving back up Main Street, I saw our shoe peddler talking with the two men. turned out it was Roger O'Neill's from NBC News interviewing the Buffalo Commons professor who pronounced doom on our little burg. The local got interviewed too. He made a stirring speech about saving our town and made it on Tom Brokaw. The piece ended with Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Mottburg, North Dakota. The professor's visitation roused in us a determination to fight against the pitiless economic, political, sociological, and demographic forces arrayed against us, and be the little town that survived. We accomplished a great amount of spinning of our wheels, and spent a lot of our own and other people's money along the way. After some years, we woke up from our depressed and defeated slumber and realized an oil boom had started. Wonder of wonders. Business was up. New, younger people in town. More kids in school. Hopes rekindled. But then came the 2008 election. After seeing Barack Obama for the first time on Fox News, my 94-year-old father declared, "You are looking at the next president of the United States." The next president who would save the planet by waging relentless war on carbon. That summer, our senior senator came to Mottburg on a listening tour. We asked him why there should be a war on fossil fuels. Maybe the experts are wrong about global warming. He declared himself to be a believer in climate change. Trust the experts. Next question. And then Al Gore won the Nobel Peace Prize. We decided to make our own documentary film, the complete debunking of the global warming scare. Ever done anything like that before? Nah. Let's bring in my budding filmmaker son, Charlie. He has a movie camera. We drove to Bismarck with Charlie and some of his friends. They interviewed Too Tall Tom, the world's tallest weatherman, and so the project was launched. We thought big, a grand opening at Mottburg's Playhouse Theater, maybe next year in the Fargo Film Festival. On June 6, 2009, we had a snowstorm. Charlie got some great footage of the snow swirling around the Rangeland Fire Danger sign. The arrow was stuck on Fire Danger Extreme. Perfect symbolism. Charlie went to college. Back in Mottburg, the project languished. And then he died. The immediate cause of death was liver failure, but he wasn't much of a drinker. The proximate cause was probably Agent Orange exposure during the war, or maybe smelling all those nasty shoe repair glues. Who knows? All I know is he got shitty care from the VA. At his wake, I told everyone about our project and how, in the credits, I would proclaim him the original climate skeptic. Because he was, the first one I knew anyway. This was a leap of faith because we were nowhere near halfway done with our little project. He died having seen only a few segments. By the time I put together a 20-minute clip, including his glorious NBC interview, and delivered it to his bed, he was hours from death. But it got done, and I would like to give him the last word. I imagine him standing before the jury box and delivering this Jeremiah. Standing in for him will be the 2007 North Dakota State Class B Poetry 3rd place winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard our case. CO2 is innocent. Now is the time to turn the tables and accuse the accusers. It will not go well for them, because what they have done is monstrous. With the same cruel spirit that condemned millions of African mothers to mourn their malaria-ravaged babies, they condemn the desperately poor to burn dung forever. Maybe they will let them have solar collectors on their huts. We measure the world's food supply in months, yet they want us to put so much corn into our gas tanks. Rainforests destroyed to make way for palm oil monoculture. Who cares about homes for orangutans? For that matter, who cares about eagles chopped up by their wind turbines, or peregrine falcons incinerated by their solar flux fields? Poor people in Africa, brutally evicted from their lands so rich Europeans can plant trees to expiate their climate sins. Billions wasted on Solyndra and other climate pork barrel projects. Their grand carbon-free regressive tax on us all. And so I say to them, woe to you! Woe to the cherry pickers, beginning with you, Guy Calendar. You just couldn't let some ugly facts get in the way of your beautiful theory. You have taught your children well. They tell us that you can't make cherry pie if you don't pick some cherries. And so they did. Michael, with his secret algorithm, did it on an industrial scale. Woe to you, keepers of the temperature records, you data adjusters and erasers of history. Did you really think you could get away with it? Phil? James? Tom? Show us your data! And what would we find if you did? The hairy README files. Woe to you, climate modelers, spewing out your virtual reality futures, evidence of nothing. Woe to the hide the decliners, the data truncators and curve splicers, all the fashioners of nice tidy stories. Woe to the scientists who let the politicians lead them around by the ring on their nose, who get rich by writing alarming books, who compare coal trains to Holocaust trains, and who like to get arrested for acts of civil disobedience with blonde bimbos. Woe to you, Al Gore, you cowardly debate dodger, you Learjet liberal hypocrite, with your mansions and your ill-gotten millions from Al Jazeera and carbon credit schemes. Woe to the International Panel on Climate Change, the grandest conspiracy of them all, brainchild of Maurice Strong, the communist billionaire. Woe to the EPA and the rest of the regulatory state. You lay heavy burdens on people which achieve nothing. Woe to the climate power elites and their crackpot realism. Woe to the eco-imperialists. Woe to the scientific technological elite. Ike warned us about you. Woe to the entire climate industrial complex. Universities, willing tools in search of science. The endless budget. The State Science Institute and all its burrowed-in bureaucrats, greedy rent-seeking corporations, and crony capitalists. Woe to the politicians, Worth, Waxman, Whitehouse, Gore, Boxer, Kerry, Markey, Schakowsky, and the pathetic Nancy Pelosi. You can all ride the global warming issue into hell, and while you are at it, inventory every aspect of your own elite lives. Woe to the climate propagandists. Al, you are the Leni Riefenstahl of the global warming movement. You folks at Real Climate and Skeptical Science, shame on you. Woe to the corporate media. Woe to the science journalists, Borenstein, Gillis, and all the rest. You hacks! A pox on the journalism schools that taught you! Woe to you, Michael Mann. You abused the data. You stonewalled. You obfuscated. You conspired. You lied. You perpetrated your nature trick. We agree you should be at the state pen, not Penn State, and that you are a disgrace to the profession. Woe to the entire paleo community for aiding and abetting you and your hockey sticks. Woe to the consensus mythmakers. 65 divided by 12,000 does not equal 97%. And you, Orescus, some science historian you are. Did you even read Montfort? Did you read any of the ClimateGate emails? Have all skeptics gone down the tobacco road? Woe to you, practitioners of post-normal science. You know where you can stick your precautionary principle. Woe to the shepherds who invite the wolves into the sheepfold. Woe to all you sold-out and co-opted academic societies, the National Academy of Science, the Royal Society, willing servants of the regulatory state. Woe to the whole global warming movement, Greenpeacers and the WWFers, the watermelons, green on the outside and red on the inside, anti-capitalists of all stripes, the globalists, the greedy rent-seeking corporations, and crony capitalists, Paul Ehrlich, the most discredited scientist in the history of science, and his grim band of population controllers. Woe to you all! What you have done is monstrous.
I am confident that he, if still living, would have delivered that indictment with the same disposition, if not with just these same words. He also would agree that, while we have strongly criticized ideas in individuals, we really contend with their motivating spirit. It is the same spirit which turns the world upside down and calls lies truth and truth lies. How well Sister Melanie exposed its works. Alinsky dedicated his work to this spirit. Against its malign influence, we invoke the help of Saint Michael, the Archangel. I also say, God bless all the heroes in this courtroom drama. God bless our band of brave, dissident scientists, Fred Singer, Richard Lindzen, Judy Curry, Bob Carter, Roy Spencer, John Christie, Tim Ball, Nils Axel Morner, Pat Michaels, Freeman Dyson, Hendrik Tenekes, Zbigniew Jaworski, Willie Soon, Sally Balionis, Ross McKittrick, Edward Wegman, William M. Briggs, statistician to the stars, and the many thousands of brave men and women who bucked the climate science establishment. God bless the leaker of the ClimateGate emails. God bless Donna Laframboise, a real investigative journalist. God bless Richard Muller, who at least tried to be an honest broker. God bless Bjorn Lomborg, tortured by the Danish Inquisition for questioning their wicked orthodoxy. God bless Stephen McIntyre and all Canadian semi-retired mining analysts, a true citizen scientist. God bless Anthony Watts and his volunteer surface station auditors. God bless Lord Christopher Monckton. How well you debunked Al Gore's mawkish science fiction comedy horror movie. God bless Mark Morano, the cheerful warrior at Climate Depot. God bless Michael Crichton, may he rest in peace. God bless and protect Mark Stein, Tim Ball, and everyone else sued by Michael Mann for exercising their First Amendment right to speak. God bless Aaron Waldowski, you showed us how. God bless the Minnesotans for global warming, and George Carlin, and Too Tall Tom. God bless all the common citizens who didn't follow the experts like sheep and who dared to speak truth to power. God bless all who still believe in truth. Finally, God bless Claude Haidt, the original global warming skeptic, a true Mottite, and my good friend. May his soul and the souls of all the faithful departed rest in peace. Amen.